Welcome, hey everyone. Welcome to the first ever Tokenize Podcast. Nice to have you all here in the chat, in the voice
Hello.
chat. This is the show where we explore all the ways to make money and accumulate wealth. Today's episode will focus on making money online in 2025, from side hustles to trading, freelancing to crypto gaming. We'll talk about what actually works and what's just hype, of course, our personal opinions. So let's kick things off with a big discussion. Can you really make money online in 2025 and actually have fun doing it? I think the fun factor is going to be the thing to stick out here, right? Can you actually have fun while doing some of these side hustles?
Well, I just think one of
Yeah,
the things that's really exciting about 2025 is that the internet has matured so much. We're not just hustling anymore. There's like building of entire economies going on versus before, where it was just like trying to make that big buck or, from one game or whatever, one token. Now there's a lot of economies being built that are making new avenues for people to make money. I'm sorry, Freelander, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
hmm
Oh yeah, it's great when like just the gaming sector. There's so many opportunities. It's almost like you have trouble picking what to do.
Yeah, that's a good and bad thing because for me, I find it's like we have just so much it's getting to the point like Web 2 world when there's like so many games coming out. It's like what is actually good? What should I actually be then spending my time in and spending my like time and investment because like I use my time to play these free to play games. That's an investment, right? What do I want to invest in, right? So giving this widespread coverage and talking about game, I think is going to be valuable to a lot of people. So yeah, I don't know. In terms of how we make money in 2025, well, yeah, any and every opportunity is great, in my opinion. And there's just so many. It's an overload, like I'm saying. So yeah, it's exciting. It's so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, to be real, the internet is filled with money making advice, right? But what actually works? Most of it is recycled, it's clickbait coming from someone who's
Oh
trying to
yeah.
sell you a course. But the truth is people are actually making money online. I mean, I'm a prime example of that. I've been making money online my whole life. I've never had an actual work to earn kind of job, you know? But anyway, some people are
Well,
freelancing, some are flipping digital assets. It's a lot of what we do in the crypto industry. Others are starting
mhm.
niche content brands or gaming communities, which is something else that we do, right? And tokenized 360 community. And we're living in a time where there's no single path, right? There's opportunity everywhere if you just know where to look. Now the thing is,
That's right.
what which one of these is actually fun? Obviously, making money is fun, right? Who doesn't have fun making money? But at the same time, for me, it's like I love making content. It's my thing. It always has been my thing. I love making content, but
Mhm.
I do have fun doing other things as well, like the freelancing stuff and the drop shipping stuff, and there's thousands of courses that and the paid courses and all the stuff that people make online about all that. But it actually is fun, making your own store, selling some T-shirts. When you get the first sell, it hits the little dopamine like you're playing a game. It can be fun. It can be
Oh yeah.
fun. Anyone have any any opinions on this?
Yeah, well, I would say too, like, it's really cool you have the background of being successful online because, a lot of people are coming into this now looking to start that, right? Everyone's trying to find out how can they start in I don't want to say unfortunately, but there is a lot of people online right now, and so it's like standing
Yeah.
out, finding your authenticity and also figuring out what actually works is like a whole balance that people have to figure out. Like for me, like one big thing is like I won't sell out for anything. Like I'll be me, and if that doesn't work, then I don't really really care because in the end, like I'm doing this to be me, and like yes, making money is amazing, and like that's the idea, right? But I feel like that's also what like Tokenize is building, right? Where people with talent and with all of these things can come together to build this little micro community that is going to be able to grow and help others achieve success over time and see what is working and what's not working. Whereas a lot of the times you're out there and you just don't know where to go. And so I feel like that's one of the great things what Tokenize is doing, is bringing that together. And it's not just the hype. It's also like, this is what we're doing. And we're going to be honest, if, it's flop, or if it's a flop, it's a flop. We can say that.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people nowadays are scared to fail. Before my first channel on YouTube worked out, I had, I think, 7 or 8 failed ones. And then between my first channel and my crypto channel, I had like 10 or 15 more that failed. And I don't care if I fail, right? I'm going to try. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to go into the next thing. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to go into the next thing. From each one where I fail, I learn something new. And I enter the next one with as much, if not more, enthusiasm than the last. I think that's one of the most important skills nowadays that people have to learn. If you want to do anything online, not only have you can't be afraid to fail, but not only that, you have to crave it, because you will fail miserably. And you have to be excited about it, so that you can get onto the next thing with as much, if not more, enthusiasm. And that's how you will inevitably succeed, because you're going to build up the skills, like specifically for content creation. There's so many micro things I have to do on a daily basis. Because when I started back 2011, long time ago, there were no thumbnail designers. I had to make my own. There were no video editors for YouTube. That didn't exist. You edit your own videos,
Right.
So I had to learn all these skills. Like nowadays, it's so much easier. If you come in with an investment, you get a video editor, you get a thumbnail designer, you get an SEO expert specifically for YouTube, right? Or a growth hacker. You get a team together and you can make it big. But you can also definitely do it on your own, as long as you're not afraid to fail. I think that's kind of my biggest takeaway there, right?
And have a lot of coffee too, because then you got to put in the hours, the sweat equity to then execute it yourself if it's a solo team, which then can also be like its own challenge in itself in order to like execute that grand plan. But yeah,
I think it needs all
what
that.
What nature was
Go
saying
ahead.
about being the authenticity piece, like I feel like you'll be more successful if you just try to be yourself and refine yourself and grow, versus just trying to fake it till you make it. I think it's just a better route to go.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
good enough at what you're doing, eventually you will get paid for it, right? That's kind of what I'm always thinking. If you're good at what you do, you can absolutely do it for free. Eventually you'll get noticed. You'll end up getting paid for it, and that's how it works.
yeah,
Big thing also, like with everything everybody's saying, and like to piece it all together, is like the endurance. And like in everything in life, right, we have to be able to endure the fallbacks, the fails, and all of those things to keep going. And it does set people apart, is when you can keep coming back and keep taking the hits and realize these are lessons to grow from, and that's what's going to make you better. And staying authentic may take longer because you're not chasing hype or you're not chasing whatever, but if it's really something you're good at and passionate about, it will build, like Tony just said, like it will become something. Just stay true to, if it's actually your passion, right? If you're forcing it, people are going to know that, right? And they're not going to feel attracted to your content.
Well, you have to be, in
Yeah.
this game, you have to be relentless. You have not just to take a hit. You're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to stand back up and keep running, not walking. You're going to run. You got to be relentless. Like that's my mindset, at least. Like nothing can stop me. That's what I truly, truly believe in my heart. Nothing can stop me. And a person who has that kind of mindset, it's very difficult to fight against, So that's how I come into this. And there's this Stoic saying that I really like. It's called Amor Fati, which means to love your fate. But to dissect this, it's not just to accept your fate if things are going bad, but to love it and to crave this. Right? So a bad thing happened. I love this. This is going to be a perfect character building opportunity for me. So if you can get into that mindset, that's what you use to propel yourself even more forward. Because a big part of doing anything online, right, is and making money and doing content and all that is the endurance, as nature said.
You're saying you win before you even start if you have that mindset. So that's, no matter which way it goes, you've won already.
Also, just I want to say, like, money and like all of that aside, would you view content creation as a form of artistic expression, and that is your art form, and you are an artist? Do you get the satisfaction of creating a perfectly edited video that's gonna hit at those perfect moments to line up? Like, do you also get that enjoyment, or is it purely monetary driven? What do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. For me personally, I don't watch my own videos. Yeah, I'm weird like that.
Okay.
I just don't. My girlfriend watches my videos. She does the quality control, tells me if I did anything wrong. I don't watch. I never did because I made over 3,000 videos, and
Yeah.
at one point I just stopped watching them because I know how it's going to turn out. The only thing I keep in mind is where I made mistakes and where I can improve in the future. And if the video is perfect, okay, on to the next one. And if the video sucks, okay, on to the next one. It's the same, right?
Now, hold on.
Just
Is that
mic
not
drop,
like a
mic
chef?
drop.
Is I'm like, is that not like not like a chef sending out a dish that does not taste their food?
I mean, that's a good comparison. That's a good comparison, I guess. But if the chef has someone else that tastes the food for them for poison.
Well, that's your sous chef. Your wife is your sous chef, basically, right? She's the quality control. And he's like, hey, is the seasoning good on this one? That's like, okay, you're executive chef of the tokenized the tokenized kitchen here, right?
Yeah, I
But
guess
yeah, that's
it's
interesting
also
because
like,
I
I was gonna say that this industry just has a way of making you look constantly forward, right? Um, Again, from my experience in this, I've been doing it for a long time. You have to constantly look in the future because if something works at one point, 100% is not going to keep working forever. It's only going to work for a short period of time. You're going to milk it and use it as much as you can to grow in that period of time. And once it ends, it ends. And if you didn't find a new thing, meanwhile, you're kind of effed, if you know what I mean. So you have to
yeah.
keep looking forward. And there is no perfect edit. There is no perfect video. There is no perfect piece of content.
But you always strive for
I
that,
don't.
and
Me personally,
you feel
no.
some kind of satisfaction for doing that. No, no,
No,
no.
zero satisfaction, zero striving for success. I strive for volume, to get content out, to educate as many people as possible, to push the industry forward. But for perfection, definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to
Okay.
say, as someone like I make content like Web3 is a whole new world where learning to kind of fit into a different realm, if you will, in content making, and then trying to find that niche and grow in that space has been a whole new experience. And like Tony's saying, the other thing is like people will start seeing what you're doing and then everyone's doing it. Like I had been doing these certain things and then everybody started doing those certain things. And then it's like, okay, well, I have to do something else now because if I continue to do it, then I'm just getting lost with all these people, right? And like, sure, mine might be better, but it's still like, okay, I am now, you have to take that charge as a leader of innovating what is next in the space? Like, what do people want to see? And like, they don't know it yet, right? And you have to show them like, okay, here's that next piece. Let's change it up, make it look different. And then more people will, gravitate towards that. And then again, more copy it. So just like what Tony was saying, it's like an innovation on the content. Like, yeah, like you can get to a part where it's like, oh, I like what I'm doing, but you can't get comfortable there. You have to make sure that you're constantly evolving or you get stuck in the mud,
Yep.
if you will.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
definitely a cycle. That's very well put together. I guess nature's gonna be the one in this podcast who's gonna get gather all our thoughts at the end of a segment and just say it. Okay, this is what you actually meant. But anyway, everyone
Yeah.
loves to say,
Basically.
make money while you sleep, right? But to break that
Yeah.
down, what does that even mean, right? Make money while you sleep. I guess one thing is the passive income things specifically for content creation. It's like the affiliate links, and then there's the YouTube ad revenue, and I can break it down if anyone's interested in that, like how exactly that works. It's also super interesting. And then of course there's crypto staking, but then that offers its own set of challenges, the crypto staking, because if you buy a crypto token and you put it to stake, and you're getting, let's say, 20% APY, which is 20% per year on your investment, which is huge. 20% you get nowhere, right? That's insane. But if in that year the token goes down 70%, then you didn't make anything. And in fact, you lost money. So there's a lot to dissect here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, if you're, I usually think of staking like, okay, where's the token going to be when I want to harvest it? So if I'm in it for like 4 years, then it's like, okay, well, is the token price going to be up or down in that time period? So it depends on the quality of the token, I would say. And then you're like, okay, if it goes up and down in the meantime, I don't care, just as long as I have 20% more when I want to harvest it. But
you pull a Rip Van Winkle basically, and then in 4 years you go to sleep for 4 years, right? And then you wake up and you're like, boom, I'm rich. Sleep to earn. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that's a really long time frame in this space. So oftentimes we're looking for shorter time periods, which I think is more what we're, the different strategies.
Yes,
Yeah.
staking is one of them, obviously, the passive income. But specifically for content creation, on YouTube we have the ad revenue. Now, in terms of crypto gaming, ad revenue is not ideal because our niche in crypto gaming is very small, so you can't really get the views to make it worth your while. Like to give you specific examples, back in 2021, I was making around $3,000 per month just from the ad revenue, which was awesome. But back then, a lot more eyes were on crypto gaming, and then there were a lot less people doing crypto gaming. So it was easier to do it then. Now it's less eyes plus more competition equals less views per person equals less ad revenue per person. But if we look at some other niches, like specifically for crypto gaming, okay, we can make revenue different ways. We have advertisers, we have all the stuff we do in Tokenized, the game nights and all of that where you can get paid. But specifically for passive income, where the ad revenue comes in, if you're doing a niche like, let's say, tech, like phone reviews or anything tech related, can get you an RPM of $15 to $20, meaning $15 to $20 per 1,000 views, and you can get millions of clicks on those kinds of videos. And then if you upload a video now, it's going to keep getting views throughout the month, throughout the years, and it's going to keep making you passive income. So I think that's a very unutilized way of earning revenue, is the YouTube ad revenue. Yeah, for our niche, maybe not the best, but for other niches, it's definitely good. I don't know if any of you have ever explored any other niches online.
Yeah, I have. Do you have any points on that?
Well, I was just gonna say, so like what one big thing that I know in games, especially ones that are trying to actually build a long-standing game system, is the evergreen content, kind of like what Tony was just speaking on with the, getting that one thing that's going to be around. The evergreen content in the game is like, how do you start? How do you make this? How do you do that? And those are the kinds of things that people will look for over and over again, even when, say, the event is over or the hype is over on the specific thing that's going on. It'll be a long-standing thing. The unfortunate thing in crypto gaming seems to be that games are constantly changing, or they're constantly redoing their whole thing. And so there's pros and cons there. The pro is that as a content creator, you get new content all the time, because it's like, okay, new thing, better make new content about it, get it out there before everybody else, make sure it's not crap, make sure you get all the points. And then the con is that everybody's also doing that too at the same time. So yeah, it's like in the crypto space, you definitely have a little harder time getting that evergreen standing content. But that kind of goes back to like, I think one big thing that would be helpful, and this is, one reason I was excited about like Tokenized and things going on, is, not just the gaming piece of crypto, but just crypto in general. Like people are scared of what that looks like. How do you set up your crypto wallets? What is safe, what is not safe, the ins and outs of that kind of thing. Those are also content things that will help in the long run, evergreen content for people. Like if you know a lot about crypto and you're a good investor, share that. That's going to help you get some, because people are going to look for that and they want to know those things. And if that content's not out there and it's not at least super, like it's not saturated, then go out there and make that content, and that's going to help bring people into the space more and drive some sort of evergreen content for yourself as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, the way I started doing crypto content is when I got into crypto, right? With my content creation background, I was thinking to myself, if I'm now learning how to open a wallet, well, chances are a lot more people throughout the years will want to know how to open a wallet. I was searching for videos on that, and I didn't find anything too useful. So, made a video. It did well. I kept going. I wanted to learn how to yield farm, right? Which is a sort of staking, not to get too technical on you, but it's a sort of an API play, right? Getting passive income. So I was learning how to do that. It was interesting. I learned how to do it, and then I made a video about it. So two things happened now, right? First, I reinforce my knowledge by teaching others about this. So I learn it better, deeper, if you will. And second thing, I get this evergreen video that's always going to be useful because compared to games, things like yield farming, they're going to stay the same. This is not going to change. Whereas a good point that Nature brought up is that games will fluctuate and change. And what's popular now is not going to be popular. Not in a year, but exactly. Exactly. Even a week from now, it's not going to be popular anymore. So there is
the short-term strategies versus long-term strategies, like with the staking too. It's like, there could be a video that you can make today that'll make you a lot of money in a month, or there could be a video that you can make that'll make you a lot of money a lot more money over the next few years. So it's that balance, I think.
Yeah, one of my most successful videos on the crypto channel is about trading. It's a trading series, and this is episode 1. And this video, I uploaded it in 2021. To this day, it gets over 1,000 views per day. To this day.
Oh wow. That's crazy.
It's incredible. It's the one video that's been very, very, very evergreen for me, if you can call it that, right? Compared to gaming videos, which just die out at some point, kind of like posting on Twitter. You post something, 2 days, not relevant.
Just like a token launch, basically, like what's the new thing? Okay, here we go. Hype. Okay, and now boom. Okay, yeah, okay. And next one. I'm chasing the next one. Yeah, it's crazy though about that.
So when it comes to passive income, specifically for ad revenue, I think it's underutilized. A lot of people think that there's an oversaturation of content, but that's not true. There's an oversaturation of bad content, perhaps, but overall good content that will be evergreen and get views. Definitely, we need more because there's so many people, and YouTube has been the #1 platform on the internet for a long time. It's the one. It withstood all tests of time. MySpace died, YouTube stayed. Facebook died, YouTube stayed. And now Instagram is dying. YouTube is still #1. Right? It's not going anywhere, and more people use it. And it's so difficult to be a competitor to YouTube at this point because someone else can make a video sharing platform. But if you want to know how long you should boil eggs for to have a runny yolk, are you gonna search on YouTube or are you gonna search on wherever, Vimeo or whatever they're called? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's also a great point. Is picking the right systems to build on, right? And that is a really good point as well. There's so many things built all the time, and it's just like the games where you have to pick the ones that have staying power that are going to last. YouTube is obviously a solid, right? And so that's a great point to remember that like passive income is real, but you have to make sure you put the active work in setting up the right systems and building the content in the right places, because that platform could disappear tomorrow. And then the myth is that it's easy, but it's not, because it's time. You have to put your time in. You've got to put some research in. You've got to put effort into your videos because, like you said, it's oversaturated with bad content. People need to realize, like, yeah, you might get a view. Are they actually watching it though? Are they actually engaged in your video, or did they like click, see it, and go, oh gosh, and then walk away, right? Because that's the problem with like this bad marketing thing that's going on in crypto. You've got all these people making bad content. And honestly, in the end, that just kind of reflects on your game, right? Or your project, because you aren't even putting the effort in to make sure people are doing good stuff. And you're just getting your name out there. Yes, might be good for the algorithm from here and there. But over the long term, you just kind of look just, cheap. Is the best word I can come up with.
That is a good one. Yeah, makes sense. Back in the day,
low tier.
back in like 2009, more or less, first time I played Minecraft. I played Minecraft because I was watching YouTube. I was watching YouTube videos, and Minecraft was the only game that allowed creators to make videos online about it. So, for example, GTA 4 was very big back then because it came out in 2007 or 8. And there were no gameplay videos except official trailers from Rockstar on YouTube or anywhere else. You have to really dig deep to find something.
Yeah, that was fairly early.
They would copyright strike you if you did any content. They wanted people to buy the game and play for themselves. They didn't understand the marketing powerhouse that is YouTube. And the first game that really understood this and encouraged creators to make videos was Minecraft, and it was one of the reasons why Minecraft grew so big. Well, one of the many reasons, but it was still
is big.
It was an important thing.
Isn't that really the thing we love about crypto, like especially with gaming, is the opened economies usually win out over closed economies. Like
sure.
opening up your IP for other people to perpetuate it, kind of similar to opening it up for people to sell it to other people.
Yeah, and I think the world in general has gotten a little on board with the idea that like creators and people online can really help move things forward, right? That's why now you see all these creators with, they've got, oh my gosh, the word is totally eluding me right now, but they get brand whatever, and people are like, yeah, so put my product on your channel, because they realize this is where people are watching the most now. It's not on TV. It's not, they need to be in front of the people, and that's where the people are.
It's the age of influence, I think the term was called, for like, the age of the influencer, right? It's like no longer the cable subscription. It's the scrolling on TikTok to see who and who, whatever. Because I know like my cousin actually, he's like, I know she does like random IRL stuff, like DIY, home reno and stuff. And I know like they gave her a bed, right? And they shipped the bed to her and she unboxed the bed. And this is where that specific target market, right, is looking and viewing to the exactly same kind of thing they want to be purchasing. So like the same thing needs to be applied to like our mindset as well, right?
So specifically content creation, I guess, can be considered as both passive and active, because you do the active thing, which is creating the content, but then the passive income comes from this for days, months, and sometimes years if you hit the correct video, if you hit the correct kind of content. But there's more things in active income that we can focus on. I love to do trading. It's one of the things I really, really like to do, and I'm good at it, and I do it often. And it's the closest thing to gambling where I have a good success rate. So I guess I like doing it. Yeah. So that's one of the active incomes you can do for online. A lot of people would say coaching or flipping assets, or here comes the big one we were waiting for, gaming. Yes, gaming can pay. All of these require time and consistency. And the smart people, they do both. They do both passive and active. Both are very important. You need active ones for having income now, and then you need passive as well to build multiple income streams, because it's not good to have only one income stream. I did this in the past. I had only one income stream. It was a good one. Yeah, and I didn't even want to diversify, and then it came back to bite me in the rear end, because once that well dries up and you have nothing else, it's not a good time, right? So multiple income streams, very important, right? I don't know what you do for the active income, but I'm curious to hear opinions on this.
Yeah, well, just on the trading piece, it's a lot of fun, but you really do have to be skilled at it, or else you will lose money.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to research, because that's what
if you can learn that skill, both trading and investing, like if you could learn those two skills, you're set. You can do whatever you want to with your time. So it's.
Yeah, it's very true.
And even with the trading and investing aspect, it's also something to remember that just like with anything else, like there's the good times and there's the bad times, and there's, and it's again an endurance game, because sometimes, it's like you have this idea about a specific stock or token, and you're like, no, I know, it's going to do this. And like, I know my husband specifically, I can't tell you how many times he goes, I cannot believe I held a Bitcoin and I sold it. And this was back like, in 2011 or whenever it started. He's like, I can't believe, he's like, I cannot believe, and it's like, you make these choices and, long-term, short-term, right? You get so many ups and downs with trading, but when you are good at it, you can make good money. And, that is definitely something that we as a unit in my family use as an income stream from especially crypto world or online. So it's definitely one of the spaces that I think people are scared of. But for good reason, especially with the new token trends of the world that we're in. There's so much like uncertainty around that. But again, back to just make sure you understand the project and that you really believe in whatever it is, or you're catching a train. And either way, you make that decision and then you ride it, and you get your up or down.
Well, yeah, one of the things is, like, if we're talking about gaming specifically, there's a gaming project that has its own coin. It's a layer 1 Ronin, and it's a chain I really believe in, and they're doing awesome things. I really like everything about them, from the wallet that they use to the games that they're onboarding that you can play and earn in, including games like Pixels and Cyberverse, who came into Ronin. But then I invested into Ronin, and this was my number one worst investment I've ever made in my life, because it fell over 70% since I invested in it. And here comes the part where that nature said that people are scared. They should be, because things like this are not possible in the traditional finance world. If you find an actual good project and you do your research where you know that this is what they're doing is amazing, it is never going to fall 70% in a year. That is unheard of, and most likely illegal to even happen. You have certain protection in the regular space, whereas in crypto, not only do we not have any protection, they don't even address this. They're like, oh, we're launching this. Please address the token situation. People are out of their minds, right? But no, it's like we keep going.
Yeah.
I actually would disagree with that just slightly, in that, like, yeah, if you buy the index, it's not going to go down 50%, but Facebook went down more than Bitcoin in 2022, I believe. It could have been 2023, but one of those years, Facebook got hit harder than Bitcoin did. And so it's like, we think we're in a risky space. We are, but stocks also can, take a nosedive.
But for stocks, you can anticipate this. Facebook has been around for a long time, and they have a dwindling supply of active people daily. Like, who uses Facebook? Not even my mom uses it anymore. Even she is on Instagram since 2020, right? So it's something.
Facebook Messenger. To talk to my parents.
Yeah, it's something you can kind of anticipate way more than in crypto, because specifically for Ronin, it has everything it needs to succeed. Yet from January 1st, 2025 until now, it is down 70%. And not a peep comes from their side. Like, for example, Jeff Bezos and Amazon, they do a quarterly talk about their stock. What's the roadmap? Where do I see it in the future? What I'm doing about it. In crypto, we don't really have that. I mean, the biggest coin is Bitcoin, and we don't even know who made it.
It's still Wild West-esque, in my opinion. It's still like we still have all these like gray areas. Like, yeah, it's not like, sure, you're saying in like an established incorporated company, like a whole our stockholders would expect that kind of like, we want to see what the heck. But when it's like we're doing blockchain crypto gaming, it's like a bunch of like, I don't know, parents, kids in their parents' basement throwing away some money. They want to gamba. So does it really matter that their token is down? Well, I don't know. Like, people are starting to get angry, and that's the general sentiment we've been picking up about what's Ronin been doing. So, I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah, that's
back to the endurance piece. It's like people forget that in 2019, tokens like BNB and Cardano were down massively, like 90% at some points before they went, 1,000x. It's these times in particular that are the endurance times for investing. For trading, it's
exactly,
because you want to take the train whether it's going up or down, but for investing, these are the hard times. These are the times. Do you believe that this is going to be a thing 5 years from now? If it's going to be a thing 5 years from now, people are there's not that many people here right now compared to the general population. At least not with money anyway.
The play to earn is like in endurance phases right now is where you're getting at, or are we even too early before endurance phases? Are we just on copium and hopium, or is it there?
Yeah, I thought it was going to happen a year, 2-3 years ago. So
I
I'm
know.
still a
When is
believer,
it
though.
coming?
I'm still a believer.
I thought this year was our year. It was looking good in February. We're making so much money on the Tamamart, man. And then what happened?
Well, so I got into crypto in 2020, the end of 2020, when Axies was like a thing, right? Like a real thing.
That's my time too. Yeah.
And in 2021, we made mad, ridiculous, fake. It was like this huge like mind blow, like. It really was, of just like, what is happening? How is this happening? Why? Like, how? Like, and we just rode that wave for I think it was 9 months when SLP was 30, 40. It was like insane. And
so insane. Yeah.
we made
$400 an Axie or something like that. I was trying to get into it.
And we were breeding. We made way more money than it just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, really didn't make sense. But it's like also with these kinds of things, it's like it goes back to that whole investment. You make an investment, you're like, okay, I believe, you see where it goes, and then sometimes you get this really high hype. And then, I took a break from crypto for 2-3 years until last year, when again it was like, oh, something's going on, let's tune in. And so it's like, I think the big thing again with the endurance piece is that endurance just means you keep coming back, right? You don't give up and you keep moving forward. And so this space is still evolving, it's still growing, it's grown so much and is continuing to grow, and better games are getting in on it, right? We're getting way better graphics, like with Star Atlas and other games like that. And you're just, it's evolving so much. Like, it's definitely not dead, and it just needs the endurance of more of us who are actually like see the potential and aren't gonna just try to ride the hype of like which game is making the money here and there.
Yeah, a big part of 2021 Axie Infinity and AXS, the token. A lot of people thought, well, everybody thought it's the gaming narrative that pushes this. It's everybody playing, but that's not what makes a token go up. It's market makers that make a token go up. And AXS used Wintermute in 2021, who was the biggest market maker back then, to pump their token. And a lot of projects do that, right? For various reasons. You need a market maker. Market makers are what makes or breaks your token. Ronin doesn't use anyone now. No, at least it says that it's unknown who their market maker is. Currently, Wintermute is not what they used to be. They dabble in meme coins now more than anything. And yeah, Jump Crypto is now the biggest one, and whatever they're in is now pumping. I mean, on their portfolio, you can find Sui and Solana, and you can see what happened to those two coins in this run. Both made all-time highs. So it's all about that. It's all about knowing the behind the scenes, which we do not know, not enough at least.
No.
Well, also the liquidity cycle, I think, does play a factor. Like you're saying, the market maker is what makes one token go further than another, but there's hardly any tokens up right now. Like there's just not a lot of extra cash in the world to throw at things, I think is our biggest problem right now.
Yeah, a lot of it. It's a combination.
Right?
It's a combination of things. But the fact that we see tokens making new all-time highs, the ones that are on the portfolios of specific market makers, also tell us that we're in a big game of manipulation, and this is not anything new. This is something that's happening in stocks as well. This doesn't mean that there's no other factors involved, obviously, but it's a big factor. It's definitely a big factor. I mean, AXS bumping to over $100, that does not happen because a lot of people play the game and extract from it. In fact, the opposite.
Yeah.
People extracting creates selling pressure. And then someone needs to buy that. And if you have a good market maker and give them a lot of money, no amount of selling pressure is going to tank your token. But market makers are expensive and gaming projects are broke. So our tokens are going down. which of course, this doesn't mean that play to earn is dead. It doesn't mean that crypto gaming is dead, as a lot of people say. In fact, it's never been more alive. Back in 2021, we had only a couple playable games, and all of them were point and click. Now we have games like
Blades.
Star Atlas. We have games like Decimated. Yeah. We have all these amazing games. We have the new shooter game from the creator of H1Z1, the Web2 studio. We have Off the Grid, right? We have all these amazing games, but none of them offer a clear play to earn element like Axie did back in 2021, where you can buy 3 Axies for $1,200 and you're going to make your money back in 3 days. That's gone.
Yeah.
My mentor held Axie from 2019 to 2021, I believe. And he was at a conference, and you know, his Axies had done 100x from where he bought them at, $4,000 to $4 million, and he was at this conference, and this guy comes up to him, this like TradFi, serious investor, and is like, "Hey, this game's gonna change the world. This is the new thing, Axie Infinity," and he's like, "Do you want to buy some?" And my mentor's like, I just sold all of mine, and they win another 10x from there. So the guy might have made money or not, but like the amount of money normal investors were throwing at Axie Infinity was crazy.
Yeah. I remember the Joe Rogan podcast when it finally got into that mainstream. Well, he's arguably not mainstream, but I mean, kind of mass folk, like arguably a notable figure talking about Axie, and they were looking and it was like millions and millions of daily transactions when it was going on, when they were talking about it. But yeah, that's kind of just like the lure and like the magic of play to earn, in my opinion. Like we were talking about like content and passive earning while we sleep, and like active earnings. Like this takes a lot of research and time and commitment and effort and endurance. We have to do it. The grind. It's a lot of work, right? It's so great of a concept. If I can just fire up a game, I'm having fun, and I'm like, hey, look, I'm like, I pulled in a little bit of money too while I'm playing, right? It's the magic of it, and that for me personally goes back to Nature said in 2021, like, yeah, Axie. I remember hearing that in this documentary about like how they were in the Philippines, like this small village, like the grandma was like just like farming the hell out of that game. game and making bank, right? And like in this small village in this developing country, just like
Yeah.
playing Axie, and they're just like going ham, and like no one is then like just like fast forward, right? I saw another kind of idea of a documentary touching on these small villages. It's crazy, right? So like no one's farming the actual rice fields now, right? They're just playing these games. So
It's
like
more
it's crazy.
profitable.
Yeah. So like, you have the generations in these small tribal villages in the developing countries. Like, grandma's like, yo, it's like I got my mystic Axie. Like I'm cooking. Like she's cooking. She's like got the most SLP and all that. She's like set.
So that's
So
that's
then
who you
Well,
trade
it's not
against.
Well, and
that's
that's
who
not
you're
even
playing
like it's crazy because you say that, and like when we were scholaring back in 2021, and it was like, we were putting kids through school. We were helping people
against.
pay for their college, and we were helping, and
You were
this is
building like soccer fields. It's
yeah, and like in my mind, like we would joke about it. We're like, we would be like, we'd probably be honored if we'd go over there. They'd probably like, throw us a party or
It's like,
something, and like,
oh,
have all
wait,
that going on.
it's nature. Nature's here. Okay. And we built a
Because
monument.
because and in my mind, we're over here like, okay, it's 40 cents, blah blah blah, and not that we weren't making money, but we weren't putting ourselves through school, and
Well, I
it's like
know.
amazing to see how much, like, for me, that's what actually drove me back to the space is like, I'm a helper at heart. I love helping people, and so like being able
Yeah.
to help other people in a way that like is beyond something I could do myself, right? Like that's it's amazing. I think it's a really cool concept, and like why the Philippines are the head people in gaming, right? Why? Because we just set them all up, right? And
Yeah,
in
I know.
2021, we set them all up. Now they're all running the space.
They're spoiled. They're
I
basically
gotta
spoiled
tell.
after that.
Oh yeah, I got to tell a quick story because this is real life. Like, I taught a bunch of Korean villagers on the border of Thailand and Burma, just a
Oh, no
little bit
way.
of Taekwondo, like
Okay.
10, 15 years ago. And so now, if I go back there, I don't know if I'm gonna find a warrior village of like a bunch of 25-year-olds that are like, yeah, Mr. Franklin's back.
They've taken over like a bunch of land because of the like sweet moves that you showed them one day.
Oh,
It could
crazy.
happen. It could happen.
But yeah, like sometimes I wonder about the economy of the Philippines. Like, is it better off because they
Well,
got
that's
this
why I bring that up.
advantage, or like what does that
Yeah,
do
I
to an
know.
economy?
I bring that up because it's like who's okay, so like everybody's like inside, okay, we're all farming the games, right? Who's actually farming the rice fields that to feed them actually, right?
Well, not
Like
everyone is gonna
how are
be
they
farming
actually
the games, right? It's still a limited amount of people. You know how many people live there compared to how many people play these games, right? It's gonna be a certain
No, I know, I
percentage, but
know, I
it's
know.
not gonna be a big percent. It's not even gonna be a big
It's
enough
still
percentage to impact the economy in any way, in my opinion.
Or their
but even
second job, like they just go home and do it. I don't know.
Because why would
but let's
you
say
I
why
that
would
don't
you
know.
stop farming a rice field if you found a passive income little crypto game? You're gonna keep doing both. If you've been doing something your whole life and you find something else that you can do on the side, you're not gonna stop your main
well,
thing.
I don't know the
You can
doctor.
retire your parents, like, hey, I'm going to retire my parents by playing this game. They don't have to go out and work
Well,
in the
yeah,
rice fields anymore.
I'll have to link you that documentary or try to find it. But yeah, it's touching on Philippines after Play to Earn has been there for some years and developed. And yes, like we're seeing like the people who like from the generation down, right? When the dad is passing his land over to son, like son does not want to take it. He just wants to play the crappy crypto games because he doesn't need to grow the rice anymore, bro. He's buying the rice. He's got buying power to buy that rice now. He's working the field is below him.
I don't know.
Oh
I
goodness.
don't think that's an ideal scenario. In my opinion, there's gonna be, and I was always saying this, even back in 2021, there's gonna be various genres within crypto games. So we're a niche inside a niche inside a niche, and we're gonna have niches inside of that. So there's going to be
Oh, yeah.
the regular games that have NFT collectibles, and that's totally fine. If I have NFT skins in Fortnite that I spent thousands of dollars on and I can now sell them, I love that. I don't need any more than that. Then there's going to be games that have a full-fledged marketplace, like the Steam marketplace. This is something Off the Grid is attempting to do. Then we're going to have the Ponzi games, the so-called Ponzi games, like the Axie in 2021, where you can buy something for $400 and get a return of investment in a couple days. That's the one that's not sustainable because the money has to come from somewhere, and most of the time it comes from more people getting in the game, making it a Ponzi, right?
Ponzi,
Textbook Ponzi. But then there's also going to be games that do something in the middle, and this is where I see myself for the most part. I'm a gamer at heart. I love playing games. I always did. If I have a good crypto game like Star Atlas, like the shooter mode in Star Atlas, that's a crypto game, they're going to have some part that will be an actual real life economy, which is going to be, at least how I think they're going to do it, how I would like it to see it be done, is through tournaments. You have prize pools, there's tournaments, daily, weekly, monthly. Something Decimated does as well, another crypto game. They have daily, weekly, monthly prize pools for doing specific things within the game. And you're enjoying the game, plus you're farming this. It's not life-changing money, but this is where the multiple genres come in, right? Do you want to get rid of your actual job and play games for a living? Well, this is not what you're going to find in Decimated, for example. But what you will find is an actual good game where you can also earn some crypto on the side. And this is where I see myself when it comes to crypto gaming, at least.
Where's my $10 a day?
I've seen ads on X for a company called Bulk, who is a Star Atlas company that they have a big old fleet and they're offering to transport freight for cheaper than you could do yourself.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And they're like, we're hiring. And it's like these economies and the play to earn aspect will if you build a game like Star Atlas that's so big and so grand, it will pop up and people will pay you to transfer their freight safely, securely, and you might be a guardsman, you know, depending on how valuable the first person shooter aspect is. They might pay you to be a guardsman if it needs securing. So I think what's going to happen over the next few years, especially with AI and automation in the physical world, more and more people will probably get jobs in the metaverse. I know that's a 2021 hot term, the metaverse, but I do think a new economy is right around the corner.
Star Atlas is a very good example of that. I have dug deep inside of their lore. And the way the lore works, there is a sort of Council of Peace after the big war inside of this game, right? So the Council of Peace has divided the galaxy in 3 sections. We have the safe zones, where you're gonna be able to trade, meet up with your friends, you know, do all kinds of missions versus the environment. There's going to be the medium zones, which is versus the environment, and also some players are going to be there. You're going to have some sort of PvP, but nothing too drastic. And of course, we're going to have the hardcore zones, where it's going to be pure PvP. The highest rewards will be there. And now, let's say in this world, I want to set up my base in the high reward area because let's say I found a planet that has a specific resource that I need. Now, I need a sort of big tools that I need to transport there in order to mine this resource. Now, I don't have good enough ship because I didn't invest in ships for whatever reason to transport this. I'm going to hire this guy's company to transport this for me. Now, they know they're carrying something very valuable. So if some raiders come along in the hardcore zone where it's full PvP, player versus player, they're going to be able to take that off him and to take my stuff. So what he's going to do is he's going to hire mercenaries. Mercenaries are real people that will get paid with real money to help secure this payload. Right? Doesn't that sound amazing?
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
It really does bring the whole star-like world Star World, like the Star World to like life, like it really does. Like anyone who's been into Star Wars or Star Trek or any sort of thing like that, like it really is bringing that into a playable aspect beyond just like I got a lightsaber and I'm killing some guys with it, right? You're actually going to be a part of fleets and like building these economies, and yeah, that's just so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a very grand vision.
I think we just found the name for if we ever do start a gaming project, like Star World. Okay.
So we went a bit off topic here, but basically, does all of this work? Everything we talked about, from building content, building a channel, doing content around things that you love to do. Could be gaming, could be tutorials. You can start freelancing, something we have barely touched upon, but will in future episodes, offering things on X, on Discord, or LinkedIn, or using games as leverage, joining guilds such as our guild, Tokenize 360, where you can compete in tournaments and earn through contribution. A lot of people have been earning more from the Tokenized guild than from the actual games as well, so it's a very big thing, these gaming guilds. And so most importantly, I would say, is to stack skills. If you have a skill, everything will be so much easier. So to put all of that into perspective, yes, you can definitely make money online in 2025, but you need patience, you need endurance, you need consistency, you need a lot of strategy. In future episodes, we'll dive deeper into specific games, specific platforms, and specific methods, and bring on people who are actually doing it. Or, well, we don't even have to do that. We already have 4 people who are already doing it. So if you're tired of all this talk online without any actual proof, you come to the right spot. Just hit the follow button. Join us for the next podcast. Welcome to Tokenize.
Welcome.